Hello everyone, welcome back in our YouTube channel. The content of video are speech about mathematics. I was given the task of changing the sound of this video with my voice. Let's check this out. %26. On the national report part, that's the percentage you below for the algorithm for the subtraction in math. In America, we had everything as an exceptional country, but the 26% sound exceptional to you? Raise your hand if you think as the country we need to do way better than that. I'm with you. We all need math. For why so many kids confused by it is because only 26% of people are hardwired from that. Love 70% are not. After working with thousands of kids, I can tell you this is the case at all. Kids don't understand math because we've been teaching it at the humanist subject. But if we make math human again, it will start make sense again. You're probably wondering, how is math in every human in the first place? So think about it. Math is human language just like English, Spanish, and Chinese, because it allows people to communicate with each other. Even in ancient times, people knew the language of math to conduct trade, to build a monument, and to measure the land for farming. This idea of math, the language, isn't exactly new. A great philosopher once said, "The laws of nature are written in the language of mathematics." So you see, even Galileo agrees, isn't it? But somewhere along the line, we're taking the language of math with about the real world around us, and we abstract that beyond this recognition. And that's why kids they get confused. Let me show you what this means. What's this third grade California math standard? And people make sense when 8 years old. Understand the fraction 1 over b as the quantity formed by one part when a whole is partitioned into b equal parts. Understand the fraction a over b as the quantity formed by a parts of size 1 over b. And if you give this description to an 8-year, you probably get reaction like this. To a math expert, this standard makes sense. But to a kid, it's an absolute torture. I tell this example specifically because the fractions are the foundational to algebra, trigonometry, and even calculus. So, kids don't understand fraction in the elementary middle school because it's hard to have them in the high school. But there's a way to make subtraction simple and easy for kids to understand. Yes, just remember that math is the language and use that to further match. For example, when I teach one grader how to add the subtraction, I start with the apple plus lesson. First say yes, 1 apple plus 1 apple, and people often say 2, which is partly correct. Half them include the words as well as with the math of language. But not just 2, it's 2 apples. Next is 3 pencils plus 2 pencils. You all know that pencil plus pencils is pencils. So everyone, how many pencils? 5 pencils right, and the key is you include the words. I tried to submit with my 5-year-old niece this month. After she's added pencils and pencils, I asked her, what's 4 billion plus 1 billion? And my aunt overheard in the distance. She scolded and said, "Are you crazy? She's been in kindergarten. How is she supposed to know 4 billion plus 1 billion? I'm done it. My niece Vanessa counting, looks up and says, 5 billion? And I say, that's right, it is 5 billion. My aunt stood ahead on that because she did not expect that from the 5-year. But all you have to do is take a language approach and math becomes intuitive and easy to understand. Then I asked her a question that kindergartner definitely not supposed to know. Plus 1/3 plus 1/3. And immediately she answered, two-thirds. So she wondering how can she possibly know that when she doesn't know about numerators and denominators yet. You see, she wasn't thinking about numerator and denominator, she solved the problem this way. And she used 1 apples plus 1 apples as her analogy to understand 1/3 plus 1/3. So, even a kindergartner can add subtraction, you'd better believe that every third grader can do it as well. Just for fun, I asked her a hash algebra question. What's 7x squared plus 2x squared? And then the 5-year correct answer, 9x squared. And she didn't need any exponent rules to figure it out. So when people say that we are either aware or not, it's not true. Math is a human language, so we all have the ability to understand this. We need to take a language approach to math urgently because too many kids are lost and they're ancient about math, and it doesn't have to be that way. I worked with angry, frustrated high school student once who couldn't pass the algebra because she only knew 44% of the multiplication task. I've told her that such kind of read, only knowing the 44% of the alphabet, is holding me back. She couldn't pass her or public relation, and she had no confidence in that. As the result, this teenager had no confidence in herself. I've told her we have to start with the multiplication because once you know all you have with your part, everything gets easier and it will be like having a fastback to every road in this land. What do you think? And she said, okay. So she systematically learned the timetable in 4 weeks. And yes, even multiplication has the language embedded in that. You'll be surprised how many kids don't realize 7 times 3 can be spelled out as 7 times 3. We just mean 3 7 times, just like this. So when kids see this way, they quickly realize that the repetition is slow and confidence. So they grab and memorize the 3 7 times, always with the 21. The first teenager would outset to dropping out, becoming fluent and confident in multiplication with the game changer. Because for the first time, we can focus on the problem solving instead of counting on the finger. I'm new, she said Karna when she's figured out that 2 years Carly at $445 a month would cost you $10,680. And she's looking at me disapprovingly and said, it's a poly sock, that's expensive. At that moment, not having wonder causing problem for her. But she looked giving a math solved problem as the reason to adult. As an educator, it's my duty to challenge kids to be tired. Thoroughly you with this challenge. Our course is stuck at 26% saturation, and I challenge you to pass the number higher. This is important because mathematical thinking not only builds your mind, but our kids need it to imagine and develop their future that doesn't get in chase. Meeting the challenge can be as simple as apples plus apples. Insist that we teach math the human language, and we will get the way sooner rather than later. Thank you.